Today on the Hopefulist, don't let others steal your shine. Good news and bad news when it comes to your health. Apple streaming is coming. And should I go see Oprah?
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Good morning. Today is day 2 of Gotta Get on Ellen. It is Wednesday, September 11th, 2019. I thought I would start out recognizing the day and doing a remembrance of the terror attacks that took place 18 years ago. Of course, 19 men hijacked 4 airplanes bound for the West Coast. A total of 2,977 people were killed in New York City, Washington, D.C., and outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. It is a little scary to think that kids that are in school today didn't live through this. They don't realize the craziness and panic and the fear and the horror of that day. I will tell you the story of how I found out about the attacks. I was working at Q102 in Philadelphia on the morning show. My primary job there was news and traffic. And we were on a staycation. Well, I was on a staycation. Excuse me. And I had gotten up to go to the gym. And I was going to a gym in South Philly at the time. And it was a personal trainer that I had. And he used to go downstairs. His son used to go to the daycare center across the street. So he would walk his son to the daycare center. So he told me, some exercises to do. And then when he came back into the gym, he said, "You took off on the craziest day of the year. A plane just flew into the World Trade Center." And I was like, "What?" So I believe I finished my workout there because at that point, we really didn't know what was going on yet. So I remember leaving there and putting on the news station on the radio. I remember then hearing about the second plane hitting. And I remember driving through Philadelphia and looking up, thinking, is there a plane coming? I stopped to get gas, and I remember I turned the volume all the way up so that I could continue to listen to the news while I was pumping my gas. And I remember people looking at me like a little bit like I was weird. I don't know if people hadn't heard yet or what was going on with them, but I then went home and watched television. And, of course, everything was about the coverage of this. It wasn't long after that I got a phone call from work asking me to come in, which, of course, I was prepared to do. Scared to death, though. How do you cover a story like this? And I wasn't like a true news person. I did the news, but for like a music station. I wasn't like a true news person, at least not at that time. So I was a little fearful of how I was going to handle it and what I would say. Because at the time, the radio station had gone all news. I believe they maybe picked up a feed from CNN or ABC or some network they had picked up that they were just running through their broadcast. And they wanted me to break in from time to time to cover local news. Wow, I was scared. But as we were there that day and watched the horror unfold, and then the morning show, luckily, nobody had gone away. We all got together the next day. Again, no music, all news, but we started taking phone calls. And at this time, people still were missing people. They hadn't been able to find some of their loved ones, and they were calling up and begging people to keep an eye out for so-and-so. And it was truly one of the most heartbreaking things I had ever been through. And, all of the planes were grounded. I don't think that there was any flights for about a week. A guy that I had worked with at the time had gotten stuck in another country, and he couldn't come back for a week. So it was one of those times where you just walked around in a daze. And like I said, it's hard to imagine that our kids now, it was 18 years ago today. There's lots of kids in school that didn't live through this. How do we let them know the significance of this day? And maybe more importantly, well, not more importantly, but just as important is how we all came together after that. That's something we do so need to remember. We weren't Republicans and Democrats back then. We were Americans, and we looked out for each other, and we were helping each other, and we were kind to each other. I've got goosebumps talking about it right now. I didn't know anybody. I wasn't close to anybody who lost someone personally at 9/11. I knew people that knew people that knew people. But since I've moved here to the Jersey Shore full time, I do know a woman who lost her husband that day and the father of her children. And I just thought to myself when I found that out, oh my gosh, how do you go on? How do you even go on? So I had thought maybe for today's topic, I would ask, I had seen on the news yesterday that New York is implementing a automatic moment of silence for all schools to commemorate the day. And I had asked, do you think that it should become a national holiday, or how can we make today's children appreciate the significance of the day? I had seen people say that we shouldn't make it a national holiday because then it will become just like Memorial Day, Veterans Day, what have you, where people just throw a barbecue or have a party and nobody really truly remembers what the day was about. So Amy had commented, she said, at the very least, it should be a day spent educating them on what happened, honoring the lives lost, showing them what the police, first responders, and firefighters do for us on a daily basis, and showing them how the United States actually were on September 12th. We all need to be reminded. Very well said, Amy. I agree 100%. Joe says it should be a holiday or at least a moment of silence during the school day. Joe also says it should not be a holiday. It should be a day of remembrance. Like I said, it's hard to get across to people who weren't there, who didn't live it, to explain to them and get them to really get the gist of everything, all the emotions that were going on that day, the fear, the horror, the wonder of what was coming next. And I do remember when I was getting gas, because Philadelphia is kind of a major city, and it looked like that's what they were trying to hit. I mean, again, we had no information at this time about what was going on. And I was just looking up, thinking, oh, gosh, is one coming? Is something going to happen here? And it's just one of those things that you will never, ever forget. And I think it's important to get children to understand the significance of the day and to honor all of those that we lost and all of the firefighters and policemen and the EMTs that rushed into those two buildings. Also the one in Washington, D.C. It always amazes me when, people are running out. These are the people that are running in, and lost a lot of good firefighters and police officers that day, and EMTs as well. So I just wanted to take a moment to do a little remembrance and say that, hopefully we can remember again that we are all Americans and we are all in this together. So with that, I'm going to move on and talk about more pleasant topics. I do want to give you some health news. I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is a new study has come out that says naps are good for your heart health. They say 2 naps a week is really good for your heart. Okay, well, my heart should be super strong then because I nap sometimes twice a day. I don't do that very often. But my naps have been getting earlier and earlier. I think I went to take a nap yesterday at 8:30. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? I get up early. I get up at 4. So by 8:30, I'm tired. And I get a lot of work done in those 4.5 hours. I got to tell you. You went to the gym yesterday. I was exhausted by 8:30. Took a nice little nap. Sometimes if I nap that early, I take another little nap on the couch about 4 o'clock. But I didn't yesterday. I stayed awake. The bad news when it comes to some health information this morning is they have figured out the reason that not just women, people gain weight as they age because it seems the body slows down the removal of fat cells. Makes sense. Everybody says your metabolism slows down, so it's kind of hand in hand with that. They say that you can combat it, though, by eating less calories and exercising. I feel like I eat like a quarter of what I used to eat, and I still can't lose weight. Not only can I not lose weight, but I put some weight on. It's just crazy. I feel like I have to eat like a bird. I miss food. So like I said, it's good news and bad news. Some tech news. Apple. The iPhone 11 has been unveiled. It's going to be up for purchase soon. And speaking of the iPhone, if you purchase the new iPhone 11, if you purchase an iPad, a Mac, or Apple television, you will be getting a free year of Apple Plus TV, which is launching on November 1st. Now, for those of you who will not be purchasing an Apple device in the next, I don't know how long that is good for. I don't know if it's for the year or what the deal is, but it's going to be $4.99 a month. They have a couple of shows. They say that they're going to have new shows every month. The one I'm most interested in is the morning show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. This is about a television morning news program. So up my alley, 2 of my favorite people. I have to determine whether or not I will think that $4.99 a month is worth it. I don't know. I hate paying for television. I already pay enough for cable. Get no channels. I know I went off on that rant yesterday. I will let it slide today. So there you go. Some tech news, some TV news, some health news. And I wanted to mention, you know how I feel about my girl Oprah. Love me, my Oprah. She is my guru. She's my go-to. I love Oprah. So I mentioned that she's going on tour next year. She's going to be at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn in February. They had a pre-sale on Monday for Weight Watchers, which I used to be a member of. Not anymore. Then they had a pre-sale on Tuesday for American Express holders. So tickets for the general public go on sale on Friday. And I had said that since I'm going to this conference with Rachel Hollis, and I've spent all of my money on that, because this thing with Rachel Hollis is costing me a bundle. In addition to the ticket, I have to stay for 4 nights. I have to pay for travel to and from. It's costing me a bundle. Oprah, though, I just have to pay for the ticket. That's what I've been thinking. Just the ticket. Nothing else. I mean, really. Wouldn't you consider me going to see Oprah live kind of like a bucket list item? I always wanted to go to her show. Obviously, that didn't happen.